Black and white photo of Manzanar camp with barracks and American flag. Barbed wire fence scrolls from left to right, followed by 10 camps, 10 stories beyond the barbed wire. Black and white photo of football being played at one of the camps in the background, with a picture of George Yoshinaga on the left in a crouched football position with the words, "The horse's mouth, George Horse Yoshinaga." Black screen with white words, Heart Mountain War Relocation Center in Wyoming was one of 10 camps established after EO 9066. It operated from August 11, 1942 to November 10, 1945 with nearly 11,000 incarcerates. George Horse Yoshinaga. Black and white headshot of George Horse Yoshinaga wearing glasses, handlebar mustache, suit, and tie. Was a longtime columnist for the Rafu Shimpo, a bilingual Japanese-English language newspaper. Black and white photo of Japanese Americans with a stack of newspapers in front of them. Based in the Little Tokyo neighborhood of Los Angeles, California. Black and white photo of car and parade with a Japanese American woman in a kimono with a tiara waving at the crowd. George Yoshinaga is behind the wheel. A sign on the car says 12th Annual Nisei Week, official car. It is the longest-running Japanese-American daily newspaper in the United States. Black and white photo of 3 Japanese Americans, 2 men, one wearing hat and a woman in between them, looking at a newspaper in front of the printing press. Through his column, The Horse's Mouth, scanned image of article The Horse's Mouth by George Yoshinaga, scrolling from bottom to top. Yoshinaga engaged and entertained generations of Japanese Americans, serving as an outspoken commentator. Color photo of George Yoshinaga wearing cap and gown speaking at a podium with others in gowns standing behind him. On issues in the community. Black and white photo of people sitting in chairs in a basketball auditorium. Voicing the thoughts, opinions, and interests of many of his fellow Nisei. Color photo taken at Santa Anita racetrack of George Yoshinaga wearing ball cap, holding a microphone, gesturing to the crowd while people take photos of him. Second-generation Japanese Americans. 4 black and white photos shown in succession of Heart Mountain, including barracks and some of the incarcerates in different weather. Heart Mountain was the name of the camp in Wyoming. The incarcerates themselves kept heart, dealing with a life-changing circumstance. Many took it all in stride as they tried to survive in their new surroundings. Black and white family portrait of the Yoshinaga family, including a young George Yoshinaga standing by his grandfather. George Horse Yoshinaga and his family were sent to Heart Mountain. Black and white photo of the Santa Anita Detention Center barracks. Before their arrival in Wyoming, they were incarcerated at the Santa Anita Detention Center. Black and white photo of 3 Japanese American football players with George Yoshinaga at the bottom holding the football. Here, he would befriend Tamotsu, Barbed, Nomura, and they would run around the track. Black and white photo of the track at Santa Anita Racetrack. This is how Yoshinaga ultimately gained his nickname. Color video of George Yoshinaga giving an interview, wearing glasses, a Bluetooth, and facial hair.
You know, being of that age, nothing to do, I used to run around the track every morning for exercise. And then the people would be standing around it, start calling me, or they start asking me, "You think you're a horse?" And then that's how his name stuck. He's a horse.
Black and white photo of Japanese-American football team wearing helmets and uniforms. Yoshinaga and Nomura would form and play on the Heart Mountain Eagles. 3 black and white photos in succession showing football games in action inside the camps. The camp's high school football team. Yoshinaga recalled that his team was allowed to play Caucasian teams from nearby towns only if they came to Heart Mountain.
They probably couldn't play their best game because...
Color video of George Yoshinaga speaking. During this interview, there are video clips of helmets being moved, players playing football, and crowds in the stands.
They would come to camp and the fans circling the field were all Japanese faces. They couldn't imagine that we know how to play football because most of the people thought that we were really Japanese. They were totally amazed at. Geez, I didn't know Japanese knew how to play football.
Black and white photo of the Heart Mountain football team with players' names labeled on the photo. The team would only lose 1 game in 2 years. 3 photos showing the Sentinel sports page from the newspaper at Heart Mountain. He got his start in journalism as a reporter for the camp newspaper, the Heart Mountain Sentinel, where he covered the sports beat and began a column called Crossroads. Photo of 2 Japanese-American boys reading the newspaper with sign "Dance This Week" in the background. It would be the beginning of a 70-year career in journalism. Color video of George Yoshinaga during an interview wearing glasses, a Bluetooth, and having facial hair.
Well, I started in camp, but it wasn't the horse's mouth then. It was after I started at Crossroads, and then I just used my name then, but then there was a guy named Masamori Kojima who was the publisher, and he said, why don't we use your nickname? And at that time, I think there was a book called The Horse's Mouth. So there was a little problem that is that it was illegal for me to use that when there was someone who wrote a book with the title Horse's Mouth. But then we started it and nobody said anything, so it's just continued for all these years.
From camp, he joined the Army's segregated unit, the 442nd. Photo of newspaper covering the heartbeat from Saturday, November 11th, 1944, with section highlighting Private George Yoshinaga reporting for active duty, where he was recruited as a member of the Army's Counterintelligence Corps. A series of 8 candid shots showing Private George Horse Yoshinaga serving in the Army. Yoshinaga served in the Military Intelligence Service during the U.S. occupation of Japan. They were assigned to interrogate former Japanese military officers taken into custody and considered to be on the wanted list by the U.S. Army. They captured a high-ranking naval officer who allegedly was part of the Pearl Harbor attack and turned him over to the proper Occupational Forces Department in Osaka, Japan. Color video of George Yoshinaga conducting an interview wearing glasses, a Bluetooth, and wearing facial hair, interspersed with photos of him in the Army.
So the thing was, when I got to CIC school in Maryland, the first test they gave us was in Japanese. That's when the fun started. CIC was more, we were classified as agents. We were more involved in intelligence work, like captured documents, information on the deployment of Japanese troops.
Black and white video of football being played at Heart Mountain Camp. After the war, Yoshinaga got involved in sports management and created and produced the Japan Bowl, a college all-star football game which was a week after the Hula Bowl in Japan. In the early 1960s, black and white photo of sumo wrestler Riki Dozan. He also went to Japan to work with Rikidozan, a professional sumo wrestler, and was the first person to bring sumo to the U.S. in 1977. Color video of George Yoshinaga conducting an interview wearing glasses, a Bluetooth, and facial hair.
Yeah, well, there were Japanese were watching or taping some of the American football games, and then the Japan Times said that they wanted to put on a game between two American teams, but no American colleges was interested in a team. So then next talk was, what about an all-star game? So they asked me to travel to the U.S. and go to NCAA and see if it was possible to put on such a game. And at first they said, no, we don't have all-star games in foreign countries. But finally, after much discussion, they agreed to do it.
Among his many community endeavors, color photo of George Yoshinaga wearing a cap and gown. He is holding a folder, wearing a purple lei, and a medal with an orange ribbon. Yoshinaga worked to preserve the memory of the Santa Anita Detention Center. 2 color candid shots showing George Yoshinaga in a suit with other people. For many years, he organized reunions for Japanese Americans who remember their time living in the horse stables. 2 color photos showing George Yoshinaga standing in front of the plaque at the Santa Anita racetrack. And he was also instrumental in securing the installation of a plaque at the racetrack honoring the incarcerates. Color video of George Yoshinaga conducting an interview, wearing glasses, a Bluetooth, and facial hair.
So when, 6 years ago, when they started putting up different, I guess you call them monuments, the different assembly centers, Santa Anita was the largest one, and yet they wouldn't put anything up. So I went to the racetrack and talked to the people there. They said, no, the racetrack is a fun place, and we don't want to put anything up that'll remind people of it. So I said, it's part of your history, that we lived on your property, but they continue to refuse. So one of my close friends is a supervisor in Los Angeles County, and Arcadia was within his territory, so his name is Mike Antonovich. So I went to him, I said, Mike, I'm trying to get this so people will know that this was part of it. So he got on the case, and we went to talk to the mayor of Arcadia, and so finally the racetrack said, okay, compose the words that you want on the plaque and we'll put it up. So it's there now. Yeah, it's simple. It just says, during the war, the Santa Anita racetrack was used as a housing, they didn't call it a evacuation assembly center, as housing for Japanese Americans. And they gave the 18,000 resided here until they were permanently moved inland. That's all it says. But at least now people that go there to visit will always stand in front and have pictures taken of it.
Color photo of George Yoshinaga wearing a ball cap, sports coat, holding a cigar in front of the Santa Anita plaque. Black screen with white lettering, credits. Black screen with color, National Park Service arrowhead.